Okay, so any of you who have talked with me for more than 5 minutes knows that I have a PhD in economic education. I am not a historian. I live in the HSS office, history and social science. It sounds really bad out of context. I'm the SS of that history and social science. I have to be careful of how I frame this, right? I'm a social science. I'm not the SS. Anyways, so the social scientists are concerned with how people work. What is society? What are global systems? How do people act within a system? Economics in particular is it's a study of how societies allocate scarce resources. We all want Lamborghinis and Bugattis and a house on Mars. Only a few can afford those, if we even can. There will always be more needs and wants in a society than there are like terrestrial resources to meet those needs. So how do we decide? That is the study of economics. Okay. Now within this very broad umbrella, there are plenty of different options, of which finance is one. I am not a finance person. I'm an applied microeconomist. Very different context. We use different tools. We see the world similar. We're trained similarly in how to view the world. Day job is very different. So I know enough to be dangerous. I'm going to talk to this talk. I'll do what I can. If I can't answer the question for you, I will at least help you find somebody who does. Okay. I ain't an expert in this field, but I'm going to try to make this as approachable as possible. If I'm failing, let me know. Please stop me at any time. Okay, so what the heck is private equity? I'm not an expert, so I've pulled sources from the pros. According to the US Security Exchange Commission, part of their funding from Congress is to do an educational outreach aspect. This is investor.gov. I trust it. It is monitored and maintained by its educators who work within this Securities and Exchange Commission. And this is them telling you what the world is. It's a trustful, I trust the source, highly recommend for future questions. So according to this site, quote, a private equity fund is a pooled investment vehicle where the advisor pools together the money invested in the fund by all the investors and uses that money to make investments on behalf of the fund. So, okay. Seems pretty straightforward. Prior to probably after the Great New Deal, quite honestly, prior to this, most folks would have called a private equity fund a bank. It is a group of people, geographically bound, ideologically bound, ethically bound, who come together, pool their scarce resources, in this case money, the currency of our realm, to invest in other things. That's it. Okay? It's a very fancy term for something that would have been a bank if you had been born in 1700s England, 1800s America. Part of the problem of the Great, the Great Depression, bank runs, all that. It's the holiday time of year. Anyone seen It's a Wonderful Life of James Stewart? Oh my goodness! I think the generational divide is showing. Okay, it came out in the 1950s. It's a black and white. Probably white. Okay, it's a wonderful holiday movie. It used to be free on ABC. Anyways, so in there, the guy stopped from going on his honeymoon because of a bank. Does anyone want to define for me what a bank run is? Yeah.
It's like when a lot of people go to a bank to draw out their money and the bank doesn't have like enough cash to keep themselves like liquid or like solvent and then they go bankrupt. They have to give all the people that want their cash.
Exactly. And this is even etymologically based in our language. Bankruptcy. Okay, so bankruptcy is when we all used to run to a bank. Literally, they call it like a bank run because you would strap on your Lamborghini or your Subarus onto your Lamborghinis and get skididdling down to the bank. Just like in today's world, even back then, banks didn't keep all of the money that was stored there in their accounts physically on site. Farmer John comes in and puts his $5 from the daily harvest, I don't freaking know, I'm making this up as I go, into a bank account. They're not gonna keep that just hanging around. They're gonna take Farmer John's $10. They're gonna give him credit, they're gonna put it in a ledger, they're gonna give him receipts. That $10 belongs to him. But they're gonna take that physical capital, because otherwise it's just sitting there doing nothing. And plus it's a security risk. If you don't like bank robbery, you tend not to want to have $1 bazillion in the vault. They take that money, Farmer John's money, now becomes Baker's Bill's new $10 stove. They loan it out. They know that Farmer John still has his money on file. Banker Bill, after the terms of the loan are, he's making payments. The extra, the interest that the bank charges for Baker Bill's ability to get access to this cash to buy the new baking machine now, so he can start producing more baked goods, so that way he can get more money, which means he can expand his business, which means he can pay back the bank. You see how this all builds upon itself? Okay, so if we agree that this is a good thing, we still need that's a lot of work. We still need to pay the bank something to serve as the facilitator, the third-party mediator. That is called interest. That goes in the bank's pocket. Okay. This is how, for a very long time, Western economies have worked. Now, a bank run happens when people get scared. Consumer confidence plummets, that's the technical term. People are like, I don't care that's awesome for Baker Bill that he has a new baking machine, but I am default, like they're gonna take the farm if I don't pay him $10 right now. There's all this economic panic, give me my money. Well, the bank can't because it's in the form of physical capital, aka Baker Bill's new baking thing. I should have chosen an alliteration with less B's because this is really hard to say with a straight face. Okay. People panic. They don't want Banker Bill's new donut machine. They want $10 because that's the currency of the realm, and that's what gets the bank off their back if they're going into foreclosure. Farmer John is incredibly irritated. It's like, why do you mean I don't have $10? He goes out of the bank, screams on Main Street, they don't have our money here. Panic ensues. The bank goes bankrupt because they have to call in all of those loans. Everything that's been out that is in physical commodity space is now comes due. And everyone's panicking and it's a race to the bottom. And the moment that a bank cannot give that money back, bankruptcy is declared. Okay. Any of that was a lot of scaffolding. Any of that sound familiar to today's world? Okay. Broader 30,000 foot view. I just described the stock market as well. Bunch of people can do their own research. I sound like a weirdo for saying that. I mean that in the academic, do your own research, not your weird, crazy aunt at Thanksgiving who's convinced that Bill Gates is injecting people with 5G. Not that type of do your own research, actual research. The only thing dividing you as a participant from this market is doing the research, putting your money in. You give it to a person in the clouds who takes your money, gives it to another bank, who then takes that and goes and it goes and it goes and it goes. This is called the money multiplier effect. Okay. Foundational to a fiat currency system and Western capitalism. That is what this is. So it's the same vehicle, the same thing, it's just a different name. Private equity. Okay. A bunch of people put their money, one person, the money disappears. You are very happy when money hits your account. Otherwise, you cry and it's a bank run. So why this version in particular? Now, private equity is the 21st century version of refining upon the bank. How do you improve that third-party mediator? And how do you vote with your dollars? Private equity firms are incredibly popular in today's world because it allows for, like, if the basics is a bunch of people who come together to invest their funds, everyone has access, guys. There's nothing dividing us. The only thing That's actually, I'm kind of going ahead. Who, and I'm gonna get to this in a minute. Who? Anyone. It can be literally anyone. The barriers to entry are, do you have money in your pocket? Okay. Okay. It has been an incredibly popular vehicle for those who want to do activist investing. You find somebody who wants to save the whales, you want to save the whales? Congratulations. They only invest in funds that save the whales, and then they give you the returns. The most important part is that buyouts, I'll get to that in a minute, in 2022, you're looking at about a $500 billion industry. Second best performance in like since we started keeping performance metrics, okay, incredibly huge returns. Private equity investing tends to grow more lucrative and popular during periods when stock markets are riding high and interest rates are low. This is also called the age of easy money, and less so when these cyclical factors turn less favorable. This is an article on Investopedia. So why? It allows you to have a voice at the table at Wall Street with very little old school connections. You believe in someone, you give them your money. Congratulations, you've just changed the world, hopefully. Okay, this one I was literally gonna I typed into it, so this is so funny. So I said a picture is worth 1,000 words. I typed into Google mysterious cartoon. And everything that came out was male. And I was like, that's freaking weird. I typed in mysterious woman. This was the first hit on Google. You can do it right now. If you type in mysterious woman on Google and go to Google Images, this is the first hit. Now, one of these things that's fascinating is that I scrolled through multiple pages of Google Images and I didn't find a single woman of color. So then I go, mysterious woman of color. Every single one of those is a fetishization of the dark skin person, and it's all fantasy, high elf, weird crap. I clicked, that's a blue link. That thing is staying blue. Fascinating, isn't it? As I don't know why. I don't know why that happened. Just something that I thought was interesting. So eventually I said, screw you all. We're going with Carmen Sandiego, and I'm gonna make a big deal about it because now even this person is sexualized. I digress. So who runs private equity firms? Where are they located? These are the spicy new takes of they're the hot commodity of SoCal, the Silicon Valley, New York, and surprisingly, Austin, Texas has come on board as a very big, bizarre, didn't see that coming in my playbook, but they're Austin, Texas and Houston to some extent are coming on board as like pretty financially intense, okay, like big industries. And nobody invests in Florida, it's gonna be underwater, and we're gonna be calling it Atlantis by the time we all die. So. Okay. So this is from S&P Global. What this shows us, where private equity firms are, it's where you guys are. It's where activist investors who want change, that's where you're gonna find them. And that's awesome, because this could have the hope of changing the world. Because if you want to go off and save the whales, you're gonna find your people in San Francisco probably wouldn't want to be looking in rural Kansas. Go to where people align with your own values. Now, one of the things that this is actually my last slide before I go to question and answers. I'm trying very hard to keep this at the 20,000 foot level. This is from Magistral Consulting. So I have sat through a few of Sophia and Alyssa's presentations on what is private equity, what is a hedge fund on all this. Private equity is the big umbrella thing that follows all the things that you guys have already learned about. Under this, you have venture capital, buyouts, growth, and then this is like mergers and acquisitions, okay? The only way that a private equity fund differs from a hedge fund or a mutual fund is that so as an investment vehicle, private equity firms are looking on a very far time horizon. They aren't looking to make a quick buck. You put money in and you're not looking at maturity until after 10 years. That's the very earliest. And then if you do it well Ideally, you'll buy it out, it'll spin off, you sell it, make profit, everyone goes to the Bahamas or wherever the cool kids vacation is on. So before I turn it back over to them, I want you guys to be thinking, which of these most calls to you? Venture, growth, buyouts, distressed. And be thinking within that bigger industry, what do I value as an investor? You guys are too young to vote. If you could step into a voting booth, instead of just being angry at the world and telling us all the things we're doing wrong, who would you vote for? Why? What is it about them that speaks to something in you that makes you trust them? It's an individual journey. I can't answer this for you. But the things that reflect who you are, I can guarantee there's a private equity fund out there that aligns with your interests. So I think I actually literally just have a Q&A slide. Anyone see Ferris Bueller's Day Off, or am I fully at past? Okay, I've got a few smiles. Geez, okay. Yeah. Oh, you've seen it. Oh, sorry. I thought that was the question. Cool, excellent. Okay, yeah.
Do private equity firms, like, do they ever go bankrupt?
Oh, yeah.
And then what happens?
They get eaten. So that's Bernie Madoff. He had a Ponzi scheme. It was actually, interestingly, he actually did it through a very clever, charitable trust. He did it through a fruit, which I did not see coming, but he did it through, he put all of his, as an advisor, he put all of his investors' money, the pooled amount, into a offshore, it's a tax vehicle that's aimed at people of very high net wealth. You get tax benefits, but you have to put 5% of that fund towards philanthropic efforts to a registered 503B, which is a registered charity in the US. So the guy was able to get around all of the SEC by putting this money, saying, oh, I'm just a bazillionaire. This is just my own wealth, and I'm going to take this 5% off, and like, this will be, I will save the children or whatever. And he was actually taking that 5% and giving it to other investors. This is how it was a Ponzi scheme. So Bernie I don't know, is he still in jail, or did he go the way of Epstein? I don't know, but he either ate a bullet or he's in jail somewhere. With high risk comes high reward, but it's a double-edged sword. Yeah.
My question kind of hits like on that too, but I was wondering like how often do private equity firms like do buyouts? Because those are pretty risky, right?
Yeah, and most of those are going to be looking at a much, so 1980s was when we just started seeing this business model come out to begin with, mergers and acquisitions, this whole idea of like cannibalizing, stripping inefficiency from efficiency, going on repeat. So Mitt Romney, that's actually how he rose to prominence, is he's a bazillionaire doing mergers and acquisitions. So it tends to be rare in today's world because all the low-hanging fruit was already done in the marketplace. And people, you say those words, and that's like a great way to get people to run away from you in a like tech sense, like, oh, we're looking at doing leveraging buyouts, and then they're like, ah. So it's rare. It can go really well or really bad. But they try to stay away with that, and that's a big part of why we see private equity on the 10-year horizon. I think Mark Cuban just came out the other day and said he's completely 100% underwater on Shark Tank because of that, right? So he put money, it didn't go anywhere. And now instead of it becoming a buyout or a leverage buyout, now it's just gonna, all those parts are gonna get stripped in bankruptcy court when the startup hits. And there goes your money.
What is the difference
Between
a leverage buyout and a buyout?
Leverage buyout is if that is what you were putting for collateral for the loan that you need, or as terms of your agreement. So it's kind of like being like, I am not going to buy you. It's oh my gosh, this is entire people are devoted to this field of law, but the way that I understand, I could be very wrong, is that a leverage buyout is when you take goods that you have from your own company, you say, I'm going to put these in a separate account. We have physical collateral, but it's in a bank somewhere, you can't see it, I will pay you with a different bank's money. So you use that as collateral for a loan, then sometimes depending on depending on the merger and acquisition, if the buying party is issuing the loan, it's a night, is basically what I'm getting at. It comes down to the very basics of your question is, it comes down to collateral. Leverage is, do you have money in outside funding? Unleveraged is, please take my thing, I don't want it. I think that I just made the waters worse. It's probably a ChatGPT question. You didn't hear me say that as a teacher.
So I know that last meeting Maggie was actually on the economics council of, I believe, NYU, and she has an economics background, as do you. So I was wondering, what do you view as the intersection between economics and private equity? And what skills do you think a private equity CEO or anyone in the C-suite should have in relation to economics?
So economics is the society's allocation of scarce resources. So a dollar bill is a piece of paper. You can't grow it, you can't eat it, you can't put it in the ground and expect it to make it true. It just is, right? And we're now, especially post-pandemic, we're getting even further detached from the physical realm to the technological realm. That's where you guys come in. I think the single best thing that you need, if you're interested in this field of study, is being tech savvy, being able to sniff out the next big thing, leveraging the power of social media. I do think that Mark Cuban is over here like scrolling and like getting arthritis in his thumb from doom scrolling while looking at Instagram reels or whatever it is you guys do these days. I don't know. No, it's people on the ground who literally have developed an entire infrastructure of social media networking analysis. Like big data, that's what's going on in Silicon Valley, right? We know about as much as you can about a person from all of these like points of data that we can put together and tell a narrative. If you guys want a dystopian hellscape,
It's almost like it's not good anyway. It's confusing and embarrassing, so people are like kind of wary of that.
yeah, and NPR, in what kind of started this whole talk is like if you guys use a credit card, every single purchase can be linked back, right? It's one credit card, we can follow these transactions. Every single loyalty club you join, if you want a true dystopian hellscape, a woman, NPR ran an article about a woman who found out that she was pregnant from CVS before she knew, because her purchasing patterns had changed. She scanned her care card. It recognized that she had different eating patterns that were similar to when she was pregnant last time. It started pushing product placement for diapers, formula. She was like, what the heck? And then she got a mailer that was like, congratulations on your new kid, da, da, da. She takes a pregnancy test, she is pregnant. And then that made everyone freaked out. There's an entire NPR article on it, it's creepy. So what is powerful in today's world is harnessing the anger of youth. You guys are mad. The world's burning, pick your dumpster fire. I guarantee you some of you are mad about something. So fix it. That is so pick a dumpster fire to focus on. Get really good at leveraging the collective hive mind that is the interwebs. Pick out what people your age are saying and be the leader that they want to be. If we agree that the currency of this realm is money, and money is equal to power, vote with your money, guys. So that is where I think it comes together, is activists, it's activism and activist investing and doing it with a heart. Like, so our last speaker said that they hear 900 pitches and they fund 1%. Right? Everyone has a story. A big part of it is not being like, oh yeah, I'm totally excited to not fund your desire to get birth control to kids in Paraguay. I like, screw them kids. We're getting another park in New York City, right? It doesn't have to be a zero-sum game. Figure out what values you have, how you can be ethically responsible. Know that it's not, just because you're not funding it this round doesn't mean you can't fund those kids next round. I I mean, I think a great place, if you guys want to get started on this, is going through kiva.org. How would you guys even decide who you are going to microfinance? It's all decision notes. Figure out what values you have, leverage your networks, profit. And change the world. I mean, that'd be nice. I prefer not to die in climate wars.
What situations would you say like private debt funds usually like invest?
Oh, yeah, I didn't mind that thing. Private debt funds. So we're talking about businesses or, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to rephrase that. It does scream me. I'm trying to focus, but I just.
Like the types of like business situations that the companies are in that they would typically invest in.
So by business situation, you're talking about like, we do forensic accounting and we understand what their actual like revenue growth, all that looks like.
Like the state of the company, like if they're like, how like would they determine a company that's in debt, that would be good to invest in versus one that's like.
Got it, sorry, that's. I mean, I taught all day too, you guys, like, I am exhausted, it's not you, it's me, I promise it. The brand is in the fire, I'm not so. That comes down to activist investing and your own desire for risk management. Do you want to intentionally, is the fund that they're looking at, is the goal to give a hand up? Where you are investing intentionally in things that do not have a great historical rate of return? Are you investing in K-8 education? Are you investing in an upside down crowdsourced coffee farm in Ethiopia that was created by a bunch of women who have no idea what the hell a spreadsheet looks like, let alone how to like figure out how to run a business for themselves? They meant really well. It did not go according to plan. They need help. There's nothing with that business model that I said, Ethiopia, coffee, women, laborers. There's nothing wrong with the business itself. It's just, do the people who are investing in it, are they convinced that there's enough of a turnaround story that the people will listen to their advice? Is it worth the time and effort versus the lack of obvious immediate returns? And that's an individual choice. That is something that's tends to be bigger on the private equity side because we're looking at a 10-year horizon. But yes, it doesn't matter how many warm fuzzies we feel from knowing that we're sending some Ethiopian coffee farmer's daughter to school for the first time. If we're like in the middle of the Zoom call and get the touchy feelings and we're like, oh my God, this is so cool. And then the electricity is turned on. That doesn't help anyone. You have to be able to save your own raft, help figure out who you want to bring onto your raft with you. But that comes down to how much starting capital you have and what is your investment philosophy. These two things should be where we tend to get off the track. These things should be in tandem, not one or the other. They work best when they're braided together. Ethics, money, save the world. Okay, I think I'm gonna turn it over to you guys. Oh, sorry.
Do we have time for it?
I don't know. Do we have time, girls? Okay, yeah.
So like with the growing role of food farms, like what effect does that have on the ones? Because you said that like now money is power and then coffee skills always going to use it. But I feel like that's like sorry. I feel like that's just even more true every day. It's the one true. I'm just wondering like, what role you can like if we can affect the lives of undecided women by student funds, like what role does
The government?
Yeah.
Excellent. I got into a very spicy faculty meeting over this, with the idea of civics education. We were getting, with the election coming up, it was questioned in the HSS, like, okay, where are you guys? We don't want you beasties. I don't want to start a freaking like incel pipeline. How do we integrate this knowledge and like how the government works? What is the government into our existing framework? And we had a big talk about whether it is our role as educators to teach civics. Civics is the study of the government of a society, how a society chooses its government leadership structure, and the obligation thereof to uphold the communal government structure. I took very big umbrage with this because they will put me in the ground before I sit up here and tell you, an international audience, what your imperatives to do in America right now. That's insane. The American way is always, I shouldn't say not always, the American way is no different than any other government on this face of the earth. No society is like, I'm so excited to elect a tyrant. I'm so happy, guys. We're gonna build concentration camps. Hey, said nobody ever. And well, maybe a few people, and they're psychos. But if we go in with the belief that people want to be good to each other, they don't want the world to burn. They want to help. But these systems are built by people. They amplify all of the things that suck about us the most. Okay, that's a system in place. If we want to change it, we have to understand how the system operates. So if you want to help the Ethiopian child go to school, I'm not saying burn the freaking government down, that's not it at all. What I am saying is figure out how to adapt the government to your choices, to represent you as a society. Does that mean going and advocating on Capitol Hill that we allocate more money from USAID to go help Ethiopia? Does it mean passing legislation to fund women in financial spaces? Grants just for that. We have the resources. It comes down to how do we allocate them based on societal preferences. Every single one of you beasties in this room is gonna have a bigger impact on the world than me. I'm just a teacher, guys. And thank God, because having to change the world at this stage sounds exhausting. It sucks, it's not fair, it falls on you. It sucks. I'm sorry. I truly mean that. I wish I could fight this battle for you, but just where we are in time and space, I don't know if I can. So, what I can do is come to you guys, the movers and shakers and policymakers of tomorrow. You have an outsized voice from when you go home. You're gonna go back to home. You're gonna talk to people that even if you're day students, you're gonna see people who are going to different schools. You're gonna talk about your experience. Leverage that. Talk to them, see their experience. And know that when you leave this place, you are going to be in a greater position of power in our society. We're gonna have more social capital than the friend back home, just because of the fact that for whatever reason, you are now a student for whatever circumstances led to you coming and accepting the end of our education, you're here. You're walking the hallway of legends. When you walk across that stage and get your diploma, you're gonna have 2 letters behind your name I will never have. PA. I don't have that. I'm not from this world. I look out, I'm an outsider looking in. I don't even understand this freaking Snapchat thing. What the heck is a Snapchat thing? You guys are driving me nuts. Every time I turn around, it's like a half face, then it's like an upside down face, and it's like I don't get it. And then it's like he sent me a photo and it does, I'm like, there's no what? And it's like, well, this is the 5th one. Cool, he's still in his geometry class. What is happening? How is this my life? Okay. Are going now. And you are going to be listened to. You're gonna have doors open for you. We have a freaking venture capitalist just reviewing our paper trading. What? That's insane, guys. This is insane. That woman, I don't even want to know how much money she makes on an hourly basis. She's just like, fuck it, I want to help the world. Don't tell me these things, it makes me nauseous. It makes me nauseous. I'm so scared. Like, she could tell the space lasers to like just take me off the face of the earth, right? If you listen to Magic the Gathering, I refuse to say that woman's name because she is a virgin. So, MTG, space lasers. She said there was Jewish space lasers, you understand? Marcy Taylor. Okay, anyways. It's okay, I try. So, if you're gonna go off to college, you're gonna get internships, you are gonna get network. People are gonna believe you and you are gonna have a better place in this world because of who you are and because of this place. Love it or hate it, that's the way it is. It just is. It's a fact of the world. It's a fact of our society. What are you going to do with that? The amount of effort I can do to keep you guys from becoming sociopaths, keep the guys out so we can have girl talk. We're already changing the world, guys. You guys are already part of enacting change. This is a brand new club. I'm a high school econ teacher. I've never worked on Wall Street. I'm making this up as I go. You guys are asking the right questions. You're looking in the right places. Trust yourselves. We are not putting all of this effort into you with the expectation that you're going to go out and kill everyone. You're going to go out and you're going to change the world. The question becomes, what flavor of change do you want? That's it.